Get that World Cup feeling with DStv Football Buzz. Subscribe to DStv Africa on YouTube.
Welcome to another episode of DStv Football Buzz, where we talk about everything 2022 FIFA World Cup. Today with us, we've got Larry from Zimbabwe, Pumbile from Namibia, and Mark from Uganda. Right, guys, today's topic, who is going to be the best midfielder at the World Cup coming up and why? Larry, kick us off. What are your thoughts? Who do you reckon is going to shine in the middle of the park?
Okay, my first one is a bit controversial. Neymar, because he's playing in midfield behind Vinicius Jr. That's how he's deployed for Brazil, and he's been doing very well in that position. My second choice is Granit Xhaka. He's been the boss at Arsenal, so he's definitely going to boss it, I think. For he always does it well, does well for Switzerland. And thirdly, Frenkie de Jong. He's got something to prove, and all the time that Barcelona don't have him in the squad, you can see they missed something, and you certainly give them that level, that drive and stability.
Pumbile, would you agree with those choices, or you got some other people that you lined up?
Well, I kind of agree with him. I mean, especially with Barca, you have seen a couple of those misses whenever he's not there. I'm just glad he touched on Brazil. Perhaps I'm a fan, but I would also go with Casemiro, who is a key defense midfielder for Brazil. Also, the fact that he, used to still plays for Real Madrid, is really, really one of the key players I would go with. And then also adding on to that, Kante. Is brilliant. He's a brilliant midfielder, I would say. Has intense contribution when it comes to any game and any pass. He's one of those players like I always used to say, he doesn't have a problem passing the ball on or aims to shoot for himself. So those are my two key players I would go with.
Mark, your thoughts?
Some great points overall, but I'm gonna have to go with the cliche that Kevin De Bruyne. He's done a lot of great things at club level. His assist record is off the charts. And once he transfers that to the international stage, Belgium's midfield is going to be a well-oiled machine. And it will hinge on the powerful City midfielder.
So we talk about midfielders, right? Obviously, there's different types of midfielders. There's defensive midfielders, which Pumbile mentioned. There's creative midfielders, and there's attacking midfielders. Neymar, an attacking midfielder. De Bruyne, a creative midfielder. What is more important? Defensive midfielder, someone to protect the back four, or a creative midfielder, someone to make goals? Larry?
I'm going to go with defensive midfielder. I'm going to go at club level. Manchester City played in the Champions League final against Chelsea and did not play with Fernandinho. They suffered because they couldn't get shape. There was no one to pick up the ball or protect the defense. And so in that respect, for example, if you look at Tchouaméni, who's just joined Real Madrid and who'll be pivotal for France, I think that is definitely a position in which France have got a lot of cover for.
Mark, would you agree?
Honestly, I wouldn't agree because it's the creative midfielder that I think should be the best type of middleman, because versatility counts when it comes to the 11 players on the pitch, and throughout the 90 minutes, you're going to need someone who's going to be the linchpin between the attack as well as the defense, someone who brings the round table to things on the pitch, someone who isn't afraid to go and get goals when the attack is having some problems, and someone who isn't afraid to come to the box when there's a defensive mix-up, try and settle things for the team. So for me, a creative midfielder is a total footballer.
Pumbile, would you agree, or do you like the idea of defensive midfielders?
Well, I would say really best of both worlds. I would love to have both, but I mean, if you had to put a gun to my head, I'll definitely go with the defense midfielder. Reasons being very simple. There's no coach that sends a team out there without any aggressive and very powerful defense from the opposite team. So I would be undermining the opposite team if I would say, let's go out and be creative and not look at the fact that the other team is also really, putting pressure on and would have to defend that. So I would rather opt for a defensive midfielder and leave maybe a little bit of the creativity in terms of trying to score with the strikers. As long as the net is just covered on my end, I think that's the safest I would go with.
Let's talk some African midfielders then, Pumbile. Any African midfielders for you that will stand out?
Well, to be honest, no. I'm just being honest, really. Like, this is World Cup, this is not COSAFA Cup or what we usually used to. We're talking about World Cup. No, I'm being honest, none.
Larry, are you big drop of the jaw? What do you think?
Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey. Frank Kessie.
Kante is more French. He's more international.
No, Thomas Partey from Arsenal. Thomas Partey is world class. He is up there with the best. So I can say Frank Kessie was just joined Barcelona.
We're talking about World Cup, guys. World Cup.
Mark, what do you think? Mark, throw in your thoughts here.
I'm surprised that you would say no midfielders from the African continent, because there's a lot of great talents here. There's Sadio Mane, Kalidou Koulibaly can be a defensive midfielder. He can be a left back, a right back. He is very thorough in his game. He's known as K2 and the wall by his opponents. He's that imposing as a figure in the box as
Guys, we're talking about individuals. We're not talking about a team right here. If we have to highlight an individual going to World Cup alone, I'm with you. An individual with their team and a national team going to World Cup, no.
No, well, Larry's blown away. Larry, tell us what you think. Tell Bumbili she's wrong. Tell her, Party, Kessie, come on.
I can't. I don't know. I don't know what to say. All I can say is I think that the fact that we've spoken about the fact that Senegal and Ghana have been impressive and will probably do very well at the World Cup. It is going to be down to the midfield, and the midfield is where you control the match. It's where you keep the shape for the team, and I think looking specifically at Ghana, the fact that they got Thomas Partey and Frank Kessie, that means that they will be able to control the game from midfield, and that's going to be pivotal to their success.
Of course, I think midfield, we all know midfield is where the engine room is. That's where you get the goals. That's where you defend the goals. Let's wrap it up then quickly. It's a good episode talking about midfielders. Had some debate. Let's get one name, Larry. Who's going to shine for you? Give me one African player and one other player.
Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka. Okay, I had to gun to my head. Granit Xhaka.
Bumbili, we're not going to ask you for any African players. Give us one international player that you think will shine.
I can just imagine the comment box after this. I'm going to be grilled for life. I'm going to go with Casemiro. From Brazil.
And yourself, Mark, one African and one international player. Who should we watch out for?
Honestly, I'm leaning towards Kalidou Koulibaly's fan page right now. I'm this close to joining. He's a very great player. He was doing some wonderful things in Napoli. His latest move is going really well for him. K2 is going to be a player to watch at the World Cup because he brings that aggressiveness to the defense, and it also brings that creativity in attack that you wouldn't find for someone of his size, height, and body structure. And overall, I go for, this might seem a little weird, honestly, you might say, no, boo, but I'm leaning towards a player of Bruno Fernandes's quality.
Oh, okay. I can do that.
Okay, it's interesting. Fantastic. Fantastic, guys. Thank you so much. To continue to follow the conversation, hashtag DStv Football Buzz. And we look forward to the next episode. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Bumbili. Thank you, Mark. We'll catch you soon.
This is Doha. This is Qatar. This is the World Cup 2022.
It is time, once more, for the world to stand still.
Stand still? Nah.
We move.
We come together tonight, 1 billion of us, in every corner of the globe where the beautiful game matters.
Here for the show-stopping magic of a moment.
And the explosion of
Hope and glory.
brothers, sisters,
Forgotten people, my body them.
We come here for heroes.
and for heartaches.
Heartache? Come now, Peter, we're not here for that. Not this time, mate.
Get and stay connected to DStv and watch all 64 matches. Here for every fan.
Your room is so messy.
Live on Super Sports.